Conditioning versus training, four-part series, and this is a part 2, which deal with the functional definition of conditioning, done from the coach's point of view, with intent and hope that this presentation will give some additional information both to coach and athlete to focus more on very challenging themes, training. So definition of conditioning, it is a program of physical exercise with the primary purpose to change to augmented energy capacity. This means we really have to switch that we burn energy exactly how skill require. And energy supplies that are favorable, after many repetitions, they will focus and become one with the skill. Athletic skill here itself, biomechanics, is not primary, it is just of secondary importance. Now, energy for any type of work is controlled by the non-voluntary subcortical centers of the brain that involve basal ganglia, thalamus, and hypothalamus. That's something that we share with all other mammals and living creatures. Now, how we draw energy? Energy really comes in 4 different ways. First form of energy is just what we have in ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. And that energy, if we don't use any other energy source, we can exercise up to the 7.4 seconds. We even cannot run 100-meter dash. That means, second part, we have to begin to burn something else than ATP. That is a carbohydrate, but again, this is done anaerobically. No oxygen, significant amount of oxygen involved. Now, how long we can go with this? Maybe half a karate match, 1.5 seconds, or we can do most of kata in that period of time. Beyond that, we really have to enter in aerobic oxidation, where we use significant amount of oxygen. How far can we go with this? We can go for about 20 minutes, and after 20 minutes of exercise, we must start breaking down fatty acids in order to generate needed energy. Now, proteins we really don't like to burn as an energy source. They are not used for that. They are building blocks in the body, and they made important structure. Therefore, we want to protect them and preserve them. Athletes going in some extreme diet need to think about that before he or she enters on such a journey. Now, success, that means that success in karate training is really not on what we do, but rather how we do it. And I repeat that very often. It is very important. If you want to build energy for explosive strength, you need to pick up a high resistance and do 1 to 6 repetition. On the other hand, if you want to build explosive power, what we should do in karate, 15 to 20 repetition will be sufficient to now teach our body how to burn energy to support that activity. So when we talk about conditioning, we are talking about not just energy, we are talking about other things. For instance, flexibility. Flexibility peak at the age of 10. That in no way mean that we are the most flexible at the age of 10. Mean that we can use that flexibility to do something. Therefore, if we want to maintain athlete's flexibility, we need to start a little bit before age 10 and follow after age of 20 and 25. When flexibility starts going down, we need to push that and support. Next parameter is acrobatic vertical coordination. That peak around the age of 15. And if you watch in a dojo, athletes 15 years of age, they are jumping, they are going, they are hopping, and that's completely opposite from what you will see with older people. Again, kata, They can do the unsu. They can do any kata where kata that require high jumps. Speed, we really peak around the age of 23, maybe 24. So at that point of time, we should rely on our speed in competition. An athlete can be coached where athlete even may attack because speed is at the peak. Explosive power, just about almost about same time. Again, if athlete is coached and athlete has a potential for attack with a high speed and explosive power, that should be done at a little bit before that age. Strength, peak at age of 25. This means that body needs to mature 25 years of our life in order for strength to reach his peak points. Horizontal ground coordination, that's around the age of 26. This means at the age of 26, we begin to slow down. Sports such as soccer, you can be an outstanding soccer player, but will be very unusual to be a world champion in high jump. High pace endurance, about the age of 35, 33, up to the maybe even 40. So we can do the many repetition of techniques, and usually training athletes will like this type of training. Now finally, low pace endurance, we are catching up at the age of 45, 50, and that's the best time for sports such as mountain climbing, and best time to enjoy life by walking. So, training versus conditioning summary. What can we say? What's objective in conditioning? It is to augment, to change energy capacity. And objective in training is to develop a skill. Frequency, how many times per week should we practice in conditioning type of exercise? 3 to 5. Training, beginner athlete maybe 3 to 5 times per week. State team 8 times, national team 10 times, because we need to learn. On the other hand, if we do too much on conditioning, we may enter in some kind of metabolic complication and difficulty. Intensity or workload, 85 to 100%, up to even 110%. Sometimes you really want to push athletes physically to see what he or she can do. But the usual way to reach 70 to 85% of maximal heart rate. Now, in training varies. You can do whatever you want. Now, duration of conditioning exercise, 60 to 90 minutes per practice. To go too much may not be good, especially if we are approaching that 5 times per week conditioning practice. In training varies. You can train for 5 minutes, you can train for 30, 40, whatever minutes. What we stimulate conditioning, it is intensity work and calories that we burn. That's it. And what stimulates or what is main thing for the training? Repetition of techniques. More techniques you repeat, more trained you will be. More calorie you burn, more condition you will be. Now, what are the areas that we are improving or want to involve? In conditioning is the flexibility, strength, explosive power, all those parameters that we just went through and showed them. And in training, it is skill, rhythm, how we execute techniques, biomechanics, and coordination. I like to repeat again that cerebellum play very important role in that part of learning. Now, which part of central nervous system we stimulate with the conditioning? It is autonomic nervous system. It is subcortical ganglia, one that we cannot control. And what we stimulate in training, brain cortex, and as we said, I'm repeating again cerebellum because Nobody really paid much attention. One of the first things that athletes start losing is a balance. And balance comes from cerebellum. I mean, we need to address that issue often in karate practice. Material presented here is from the books Karate, Martial Art and Sports Volume 4, Volume 7, and Children in Karate Training. All these books and other books that I had the pleasure to write with some outstanding athletes, friends and colleagues are part of material for Karate Instructors Program, which we used to run for about 35 years up in New York. This presentation is just one single drop in the ocean of the knowledge of karate. That's how I like to end each of these small presentations. Us!